Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. Kristin here, and today I want to start talking about back to school, specifically healthy habits for a less stressed back to school. It's the first week back to school for many of us around the country, and the transition, no matter what the situation is for us, can feel a little overwhelming. But creating some healthy habits around the school year can be helpful to ease the stress on our bodies and help things to feel just a little less hectic. So today, I want to share some strategies for a healthier, less stressed back to school for moms and kids. Living a healthy, balanced life is no small feat, especially when you're a mom. With meals to cook, laundry to load, work to do, and humans to raise, it can be easy to feel like we're in an on-again, off-again relationship with healthy living. But it doesn't have to feel this way. I believe living a healthy life has become way too complicated. What we need isn't a new plan or program telling us what to eat or how to live. We need simple, uncomplicated routines and information that's going to help us live our best, most beautiful life without rules and restrictions. Join me, Kristin Dovbniak, holistic health coach, certified intuitive eating counselor, and mama of two, for weekly conversations on what it means to live a healthy, balanced life, uncomplicate eating, and simplify in every area of mom life. Now, I know that our world looks different than it did during back to school time last year. There is no doubt about that. So I'm going to try and keep these tips as general as possible, and you can take what you learn and apply it to your own life, whatever that looks like for you. So let's dive into less stressed back to school strategies for mamas first. Strategy number 1, get up before the kids. Okay, please no hate from night owls, okay? But I think getting up before your kids is a crucial part of feeling like a less stressed mom. When you are proactive about your day instead of reactive, it makes such a difference, even if it's just 10 to 15 minutes. What can you do in those 10 to 15 minutes? You could wash your face and brush your teeth to feel refreshed. You could get yourself a glass of water, maybe with some lemon, and start the coffee. You can get breakfast on the table. You could empty the dishwasher. You could spend a few minutes journaling, praying, or meditating, or all of the above if you have more time. You could include more than one of those things if you have 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. Maybe you have the time to include a walk or some movement. It's up to you. The point here is to simply do something that will set your day up well in the morning so you can start the day showing up as the best version of yourself for your kids. I promise it makes a massive difference. Strategy number 2, use the evening to prepare for the day ahead. This is another game changer when you actually do it. And I'm preaching to myself over here. It's something I try to be in the habit of, and when I do it, it's amazing. And when I don't, well, our mornings definitely look more stressful. So I want you to ask yourself, what can you do the night ahead to make the morning less stressful? A few ideas here. You could pack lunches ahead of time and store them in the fridge. You just have to pop in ice pack and you're good to go. You can make sure the sink is clean and load the dishwasher. So in the morning, it's easy to unload and have clean dishes ready to go for breakfast. You could fill water bottles and put them in the fridge. So those are all ready to go and you're not forgetting about them when you're packing lunches, and you can just hand them to your kids as they run out the door. You can get breakfast prepped in a way that is easy to put it together in the morning, whether it's putting together smoothie bags if you haven't already done that during your food prep, overnight oats, chia pudding, make a batch of muffins. It doesn't have to be complicated. I'm just throwing a few ideas out there. The key here is the less you actually have to do in the morning, the easier your mornings will be. Then you can just focus on the things that you need to get done in the morning, like hairbrush, brush teeth, clothes on, eat breakfast, backpack, and out the door. Strategy number 3, have a plan. A meal plan, that is. I'm going to talk more about this on Friday, specifically how to simplify this area. But I'm going to go ahead and plug my free meal planning challenge this month, because if you haven't joined yet, what are you waiting for? I want you to join us for 4 weeks of meal planning bliss, meal planning you'll actually stick with beyond the end of the month. So head to healthymamachris.com/plan to join us for free. We start on September 7th. But here's why this is important. Meal planning and grocery shopping is one area that is simply non-negotiable for me. It's just not worth the stress to not have a plan. When it comes to back to school, evenings start to get a little crazy as we have activities. So meal planning dinners is as important as ever. But summers are often a little more casual, at least in our house, when it comes to breakfast and lunches. but this is the area that I see mamas stressing over more than anything. So what I like to do is choose 2 options for breakfast and lunch, make sure we have those ingredients on hand, and rotate them so it's less complicated, but kids also have a choice and a say in what they want to eat. And that brings me to strategy number 4. Number 4, do some light food prep. You all know how I feel about meal prep. At least I hope you do, and if not, here's the long and short of it. I love meal prep, but it doesn't have to be complicated or boring. As a former personal chef, meal prepping for other people was my career, and I learned a few tips and tricks along the way. One is that there is no one-size-fits-all. Prep in a way that works for you, starting with which meals you need the most support. So which days of the week are busiest in the evenings? Start here with dinner prep. I often recommend starting with prepping ingredients to make things easier and then moving into other styles of prep if that feels right for you, like batch cooking or a combination of the two. I talk about all of these and more in my course, Healthy Mama Meal Prep, which I am re-releasing at the beginning of next month. So be sure to get on the waitlist for that. The link is in the show notes. So that's going to be exciting when I get to re-release that because there's so many new strategies in there. And I love talking about it. But just doing a little bit of light food prep can make a huge difference in your week, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, or all 3. And last but not least, strategy number 5 for moms is schedule in me time. I know scheduling in me time feels super selfish, especially because back to school time is about the kids and getting the kids back to school and getting into a new routine. But this is so not selfish, mama. As important as this was during quarantine and all of that stress, it is during the school year when life is moving just a little bit faster. So how can you schedule in time for just you so you can show up well for your family each and every day? I mentioned the morning time. How can you maybe schedule time in the evening or do something midday, whether you're working or not, to refresh you so that you can be there for your kids in the after school time, so you can be there at dinner time and at bedtime. I want you to be able to show up as the best version of yourself, and that includes taking care of you in whatever way possible, whether this means making sure you're getting in regular meals, you're getting in a shower, you are getting in some sort of movement, you're taking time to simply relax. All of these things are important so you can show up for your family. So now let's dig into some healthy habit strategies for kiddos. Strategy number 1 is to stay consistent with bedtime and wake-up time. Mamas who do this know what a game changer this is. Having a simple routine, even just brush teeth, PJs, books, bed, which is our basic nighttime routine, and the same in the morning, clothes, breakfast, teeth, shoes, will simplify your days and reduce stress a ton. Try it if you haven't yet. I know getting into a routine can take some time. It can be hard, but it also helps us sleep, and allowing your kids' circadian rhythm to align with your schedule so they begin to naturally sleep and wake around the same time each day, and it just makes the days that much more smooth. If you have the time, do this a few days before school starts so that you're already into that rhythm. Strategy number 2 is to get kids involved with meals. What do your kids want for breakfast this week? How about lunches? Allowing them to choose some of the options when it comes to their meals makes it so much easier when it comes to packing meals that they actually enjoy. No more, full lunch boxes that come back at the end of the day. And I don't ask my kids day of. I want to mention that. Instead, I ask the week of, and then I prepare from there. There are no food fights, and there's way less stress in the mornings or in the evenings when I pack their lunch boxes. They get to pick the beginning of the week, and then they get what they get during the week. With breakfast, they get to pick from 2 choices, and that is that. We always have the ingredients on hand for smoothies, so they always have that option if they do want a smoothie, but typically we have 2 other options, or they can have a smoothie, and that's what we've got for them. We make sure to start the day with a balance of some sort of protein and produce, which is usually fruit in this case. That's always the goal. And then we round it out with some sort of a carb and a healthy fat if we can. This can be as simple as eggs or chicken sausage with some sort of a fruit and toast with peanut butter. Super simple, does not need to be fancy, but you're setting your kids up for a healthier day when you're setting them up with a balanced meal and more focus at school as well. Head to the link in my show notes to download my free stress-free kids lunch guide as well. I have that available now if that is something that interests you. Strategy number 3 is have a before bus routine. This is a simple routine before your kids head out the door, or in our case, before we start the day in case we do head out. So this is just to support their health and add more ease to their routine. So last year, I had Dr. Elena Ramel on the podcast, and she shared some of her best tips for healthy kids. And I'm going to link this in the show notes as well. Lots of links in the show notes, so please go and check those out. And in the tail end of a pandemic, I really think immune health is at the top of all of our minds. So in our house, we keep it simple and straightforward, but these are non-negotiables for us. My kids get elderberry liquid, a probiotic, and we also include lots of probiotic-rich foods in our meals as well, like sauerkraut and yogurt and kombucha. Trying to get them into kefir, but they're not so huge on that yet. Vitamin D, an essential oil roller on the back of their neck for extra immune support. We like On Guard. And we will also add vitamin C if anyone is feeling under the weather in our family. Obviously, if our kids are sick, if they have a fever, they're not going to school. But if somebody else is feeling a little bit sniffly, whether it's allergies or it looks like a cold coming on, we add in some extra vitamin C. And I will share my favorite brands in the show notes, the ones that I love and my kids also love as well. If that's helpful for you, I hope you will take those. And when my oldest was in school, this is also really big. So she's homeschooled now, but we would do her hair and brush her hair with a spray that I made at home. It has a few drops of tea tree and rosemary essential oils in it for lice protection. So it was half water, half witch hazel, and I just did a few drops of tea tree or melaleuca, whatever you want to call it, and a few drops of rosemary, spray that in her hair, brush it out, and that helps to protect against lice, which is something that thankfully we have not experienced yet, and I hope we never have to. And strategy number 4 for kids is to prepare for after school. A few things that we do during after school time. If the kids are getting off a bus, we have them come in, leave the backpacks at the door, and take shoes off to avoid extra exposure to any ickies. We hand sanitize, do more of the essential oil roller, and they come in for water or tea and a snack. I like to prepare this ahead so it's easy to sit and have a snack and connect a little bit. If it's warm, this is also a really great time to go outside after that. Get a little activity before dinner, and bedtime is always that much easier. Okay, friends, that is what I have for you today. Those are my tips, my 5 tips for moms and 4 tips for kids. And I hope that you found these strategies a helpful reminder for a more smooth back to school. If you loved these tips, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another episode of the podcast. And don't forget to leave a star rating and review so that more people see and listen to the podcast. And don't forget to head to the show notes for all of the links I mentioned throughout the episode. Have a beautiful day, friends, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Healthy Balance Mama podcast. If you loved it, would you take a screenshot and share it with a friend over on Instagram and tag me in it? It helps me so much to know what you love and are taking away from each episode. If you really loved it, would you hop over to iTunes and give me a star rating and review? Every rating and review helps this podcast be seen and heard by more women who need to hear the message of balance and wellness without deprivation. It's the best free gift you could give me. And as a reminder, the information and opinions on this podcast are meant for education and inspiration only and are not to be taken as medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult with a trusted practitioner before making any changes. Have a beautiful day, friend, and I'll see you in the next episode.